Hope you are able to see my screen. We'll just do a quick recap on what we have discussed yesterday. Whoever is not talking, go on mute, please. Partha. Yeah. So we have discussed about history and evolution of data centers and virtualization, centralization, decentralization of physical data centers, and also virtualization, commoditization of hardware virtualization, evolution of cloud when this cloud foundation started, and different organizations when they have started their cloud services, and then when Microsoft started their cloud services. Okay, and then we have discussed about few gentlemen who have contributed majorly for this cloud computing. Now we'll start with the types of cloud computing. We have three different types of cloud computing: public, private, and hybrid. Okay, so the Amazon, Google Cloud, or Azure, or Alibaba, all these are public cloud providers. Public cloud providers. When I say public cloud, the public cloud solutions are readily available from Amazon, Microsoft, GCP, Alibaba, and so on. The public cloud services provide infrastructure and services to the public, and you or your organization are secure piece of infrastructure on the network. Resources are shared by hundreds and thousands of people. I'm deploying one VM, and one of you are deploying a VM, and some X person is deploying VM. They may put all your three VMs in the same physical hardware, same data center, same physical hardware. There is no segregation of, okay, for X customer, this is the segment where I'm going to put all this VM. For Y customer, this is the separate segment. There is nothing like that in public cloud. Public cloud, the resources, if I deploy a VM, they are not revealing in which hardware exactly your VM is deploying. They may they might be putting your VM along with someone else VM in the same physical hardware. So we have discussed about virtualization, right? Yesterday, if you want to deploy a VM, you need a physical hardware. On top of that, the virtualization will have to be implemented. Then you can deploy a VM. Deploying setting up hardware and implementing this virtualization layer is not in your scope when it comes to the cloud. It is a either it is a public, private, hybrid, doesn't matter. Your scope is to deploy your VM. When you are deploying a VM, it will just ask you to choose which region you want to deploy this VM, which region you want to deploy this region: South India, West India, Central India, East US, West US, Central US, UK, uh, Japan East, China West. Like that, there are so many regions. You just have to select a region where you want to deploy this VM, and you don't have an option to choose, okay, I want to deploy this VM to so and so physical machine, so and so physical Hyper-V host, or so and so VMware server. There is nothing like that. Considering that your VM might be putting along with someone else VM in the same physical hardware. This is what it is telling. Resources are shared by hundreds and thousands of people or many customers together. Okay. When it comes to the cost perspective, these public clouds are best cheaper, inexpensive. Okay. Uh, you don't need to set up a hardware. Okay, and when it comes to the security, it is a see here. There are some limitations. The public cloud may not be right fit for every organization. Public cloud may not be right fit for uh, every organization, considering the shared infra. Okay, the model can limit configuration, security, Security is the main constraint. That's the reason many of the banking and financial customers are hesitant to move their their applications and databases and infra to public cloud. Okay, so for critical security applications, it is not a right fit to move your infra to public cloud. See here, this is the shared public cloud environment, and I have X customer, Y customer, and Z customer. All these three are connecting to this public cloud and and use and deploying and using this virtual machines. Say I have one, two, three, four, five missions are deployed in the same physical hardware. Okay, let's move on with the private cloud. When I say private cloud, your cloud provider will arrange a dedicated space for your particular company or particular customer. See here, private cloud solutions are dedicated to an organization or business and often have much more specific security controls than public. If I have, even though I am putting my infra in a cloud, but I'll have my dedicated space and I can implement whatever the security controls that I wish to be applied on my environment, right? So it's my company decision what security controls I need to put in. Okay, public the cloud provider will just give you a hardware and also they will give you space for you in the data center, dedicated space. It cannot be shared with other customers and other users. Okay, somebody's not in mute. Muhammad Rafi, I'm putting you on mute. Okay, so private cloud, uh, you or your customers will get a dedicated space or dedicated cluster in the data center where you can deploy your VMs. In private cloud, it will be more in your control instead of cloud control. But when you go to public cloud, nothing will be in your control. Or backups or maintenance, scale up, scale down, everything will be in cloud providers control. But when it comes to the private cloud, see here, private cloud involves manual intervention and lot of efforts to be made by the organization to create and utilize the needed services. You need to configure all your services, whereas public cloud is very much automated and more self-managed for provisioning needed services. Like private cloud is something like your data center, but it's not your physical data center. So you have a dedicated private space in your cloud data center where you are going to deploy your infra and you are going to own the management of this infra. Okay, there are simple comparisons between the public and private cloud. So in public cloud, the resources are being shared with multiple users and multiple customers. So there is no shared with the privately shared virtual resources and support multiple customers, the cluster of dedicated to the customers, and support over the internet connectivity over the network, fiber channel, and private network. So when you have your own dedicated space in your data center, you can have your own private network to access the infra that you have deployed in private cloud. Okay, suited for less confidential and less security applications, and suited for secured and confidential informations and core finance and banking systems. Okay, in the public cloud, provisioning resources is a very simple process. So you can just get into the consent portal and just request the resource provision and finish. But when it comes to the private cloud, it is like your own way of implementing. Raise a request, acquire all the approvals, and do the manual allocation and get the access, and also perform the installation manually and mark it finished. Okay, so more of like you have a VM, uh, there won't be any uh, uh, like PaaS services or SaaS services in private cloud. The more of infra as a service where you need to do everything manually. That is the private cloud. Next category is hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is nothing but, say I have an on-premise data center. You are supporting a customer where they have 500 SQL servers. They are supporting on-premise. Okay, the existing data center. All are 2016 or 2014 SQL servers. Okay, they have a SQL. They have a license contract for the SQL servers for next 2 more years. Okay, and your customer decided to move all applications and database infra to cloud. Applications and database infra to cloud. So you don't need to lift everything from existing data center and put it in the public cloud. What you can do, you can still maintain your existing infra at on-premise, and whatever the new requests are coming, new setup, new applications, new database infra, that you are getting from the customer, that you can set up in public cloud. Having a dedicated connection between this on-premise and public cloud. As and when a life cycle is ending for a particular application or particular database, you can you can plan that particular piece of infra to migrate on public cloud. Okay, to migrate on public cloud. Second case, there are some legacy applications. If you go to uh, JPMC or any other banking or finance customers, they're still using 2008. They still have 2005. They still have 2000 instances. Even though Microsoft has ended product life cycle, even Microsoft is not providing support on this product, they're still continuing. Considering the applications are legacy and they are compatible only with these versions. Applications are compatible only with these versions, and these applications are very critical. They don't want to do any risk with these applications. They don't want to do any risk with this application. They don't want to attempt upgrading this databases to higher version, assuming that something goes wrong. If something goes wrong, it will have a huge financial impact due to these applications. Considering that many banking and finance related applications still using some legacy SQL versions like 2000, 2008, and 2012. If you have such scenario, you can continue those SQL servers and applications in the on-premise, and whatever you can move on to cloud, you can migrate those. So you are maintaining certain infra at on-premise and certain infra at public cloud. That is something called hybrid cloud. That is something called hybrid cloud. Okay, so whatever you are learning now, you are supporting a SQL server in on-premise, and now you are learning Azure. So you are a hybrid cloud database admin. Hybrid cloud database admin. When you say hybrid cloud, okay, it is you are supporting both on-premise and SQL Server and cloud. Okay. So any doubts on these three different types of cloud types: public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud?
Hybrid cloud mean nothing but on-premise services and cloud services. That's all, right?
If you have an environment where you are maintaining certain infra in the on-premise and also certain infra in the cloud, that we call it as a hybrid cloud, with a dedicated connectivity between these two sites, your on-premise site and your cloud site. Obviously, right? If you have some applications hosted in on-premise, some applications hosted in public cloud. Definitely, there should be a communication. A few applications which are running on-premise may have a dependency on applications running on the public cloud, and few applications which are running on the public cloud may have the dependency on the applications running on the on-premise. Okay,
Okay, got it.
so next we need to talk about the cloud services. Okay, cloud services, public cloud services. So now our focus will be on public cloud. So we have three types of services: infrastructure as a service, that is IaaS; infrastructure as a service, infrastructure as a service; and second thing is PaaS, platform as a service, platform as a service; and third one is SaaS, software as a service. The first blade you are seeing highlighted all the boxes in blue color, that is our on-premise. Okay, on-premise, the regular uh, environment that you are supporting nowadays. Okay, the first one is on-premise. The second blade where you have certain blocks are highlighted with the blue color and remaining blocks are grayed out, that is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. The third one, only one box is highlighted in blue color, that is applications, and remaining all the blocks are grayed out, that is a platform as a service. And the last one is there is nothing in blue color, all the blocks are grayed out, so that is SaaS, software as a service. We'll try to understand what is enterprise IT, the legacy IT, the one that we are supporting, and we'll understand uh, how it is got transformed to IaaS and then PaaS and then SaaS. In in the legacy IT that we are supporting nowadays in our on-premise data centers, everything will be in your control. Yesterday, as I mentioned, if somebody want to set up an infra for their upcoming or a startup business, they need to identify IT team. Okay, they need to set up a data centers. They need to identify a space for data center, a, a facility for data center. Okay, once they have identified the data center with the cooling, power supply, everything is established, and the networking guy comes into the picture. He is going to take care of setting up those LANs, WANs, cabling, physical cablings, and network links, routers, switches. Everything will be done by a networking guy. And then storage guy comes into the picture. He will establish the SAN or NAS storage. Okay, storage. Uh, then, then on top of that, once you have a networks with the IP addresses are available, VNets, subnets, all these things are established, and you have a storage like data stores are created. You have some uh, thousands of terabytes of storage available. Now, the physical servers are going to be deployed. Physical blade servers, okay, rack mount blade servers are going to be deployed. On top of that, okay, while you are deploying these physical servers, you can assign IP addresses, you can assign the storage to out of the storage data stores created by your storage guy. You can ask storage guys to assign like, okay, for this server assign 10 terabytes. Okay, I'll assign one 10 terabyte data store to this physical host. Then on top of that, when you are deploying a VM, okay, then out of those 10 terabyte data store that you have assigned to your physical server, you can assign whatever the storage, CPU, memory required for your VM. I can say 16 vCore CPU, and then 8 GB RAM, and then 500 GB storage. And then that 500 GB can be broken into multiple volumes for 50 GB C drive, 100 GB D drive, 250 GB E drive, another 151, like that you can break based on your volume. And that will be part of your OS installation and the volume creations that will be done. On top of that, you will come into the picture as a database administrator. You will get your SQL Server setup, and then you will install the SQL Server. Then security guy will come and he will perform the security hardening at OS level, and he will do security hardening at database level. Then finally, we'll hand it over the server and database details to applications. They'll go for configuration, application configuration. So here we need all the technology people, right? We need a data center guys, we need a networking guys, storage guys, and Windows guys, depending on Windows or Linux or whatever the operating system that we are setting up. And also we need a VMware guy, and also OS guy, that is where uh, Windows or Linux, AX, whatever. And also database, depending on the platform, SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, MongoDB, whatever the database they required. And security guy, definitely required. Um, and the application guys. Okay, so everything is managed by you or your team for your customer. Everything is managed by you or your team. Say, for example, IBM is where you are working. You have a team of 20 members, including data center guys, networking, storage, servers, uh, and this different technology stacks. And your team is supporting for customer General Motors. So if you want to set up a data center for General Motors, if it's a contract is to set up a data center services for General Motors infra, so you need to set up all all these layers, and you need experts in each and every uh, technology area. Okay, and once this deployment is done, and your team have to own the maintenance also. Your team have to own the maintenance and support also. That is the regular uh, on-premise model of infra. Okay, and then when it comes to the infra in public cloud, infrastructure as a service in public cloud, one of the services providing infrastructure as a service. Okay, ready-made service is available in public cloud to provide the infrastructure. Okay, see here, until virtualization, the data center, networking, storage, servers, and virtualization is managed by cloud provider. You don't need to worry about setting up the data center. You don't need to worry about setting up um, a physical networking, like switches, routers, and network links. And you don't need to worry about cabling, all these things, setting up WANs, LANs. You don't need to worry about. Okay, and also how much storage is required. It's not in your scope. Leave it. Okay, which physical server you don't need to worry about. Implementing virtualization platform, like installing Hyper-V or installing VMware at Oracle. It's not your uh, until virtualization. The platform is provided by the infra is provided by cloud provider. You can just if you have a subscription, if you have access, if you have a subscription with appropriate privileges, what you can do, you can just go ahead and deploy a VM in 5 minutes time. In fact, not even 5 minutes, it will be in the range of 3 to 5 minutes. If it is a Linux machine, it will be done in a minute. If it is a Windows machine, it may take 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, compare both case one and case two. Case one is where your legacy IT, where you are doing everything, and case two, infrastructure as a service, where you are not worrying about your infra hardware and all. You are just spending your VM in a minutes of time. I'm a new startup guy. Say for example, I'm starting a new e-commerce business. Okay, e-commerce business. For e-commerce, what I need? The minimum requirement is a web application. A web application requires one web server. It may require one application server. It may require one database server. Okay, one web application. For that, one database server backend, one middle layer application server, and one front end web server. Three servers. Okay, consider web server is Tomcat, and application server is JBoss, and backend is SQL Server. Okay, so if I go to deploy these three machines for one single applications, one simple e-commerce application, I need to invest on the data center, networking, storage, servers. Okay, I've invested everything. Considering my business will go fine. Definitely, when I'm starting my own business, I'll definitely move with a positive intent. Nobody will think that my business will go into loss. I may have to shut down this business after 5 months, after 6 months, after 1 year. Nobody will start any business with that intent. Okay, considering that as a positive with a positive intent, I've invested so much of amount setting up my data centers and servers, everything. Um, So definitely you cannot set up a data center for two or three servers. When you are starting a business, you will do the capacity assessment in the next 1 year or next 4 years, how much infra I need. In next 4 years, how much infra I need for my application. Considering that, based on the capacity planning, you will arrange your data center space and all other infra related things. Okay, so after 6 months or 1 year, assume that your business is not going well. Business is not going well, and you are planning to shut down the things. Okay, so whatever the amount you are invested to set up all your physical infra is a loss for you. Okay, the same thing if you come to infra as a service, you are not investing anything on your physical hardware, setting up data centers, networking, storage, and virtualization. So what you are doing, you are simply deploying the VM that you want, two CPU, 4 GB RAM, and 100 GB storage. Two CPU, 4 GB RAM, and 100 GB storage. That is what the computer reserves, right? Three missions. Okay, three missions, each of 2 CPU, each of 4 GB RAM, each of 100 GB storage. Okay, it will cost you per mission per hour 5 rupees. Truly speaking, 5 rupees, 5 Indian rupees per hour. So even after 6 months, if your business is not going well, if you want to shut down your e-commerce site, just a matter of deleting these three VMs. Matter of deleting three VMs. From there, there won't be any cost for these VMs as you have deleted these VMs. So flexible infra. So flexible infra. Whenever you want your VM, you deploy, and whenever you want to shut down or delete it. And the charges are applicable only for your VM uptime. Say, for example, at today morning at 10 a.m., I've deployed one VM and I have used it for next 2 hours up to 12 p.m. After that, my work is done. I don't want this VM. I can shut down this VM. I can shut down this VM, and after 1 week, I may start this VM for some other work. Okay. So today I've used this VM for 2 hours. Okay, charges will be applicable only for these 2 hours, and the rest of the week where I've kept this VM shut down, there won't be any charge from the cloud provider. Okay, so you are deploying a VM with operating system. On top of that, the remaining story is same. You can download and install a SQL server, do the security hardening, and hand it over to the applications. Okay, that is infrastructure as a service. Your scope is coming starting with VM deployment. Deploy a VM and deploy databases, do the security hardening, and finally hand it over to the applications. The next category is PaaS, platform as a service. And here you don't need to deploy your VM also. You don't need to install your SQL Server. Security hardening will be taken care by cloud provider. Only thing is you can just go ahead and create applications. See, in the infrastructure as a service, once VM is ready, you need to install a SQL Server. Okay, you need to share your SQL Server details with the application team. They will connect to your SQL Server and create their databases from applications. And once the databases are created, and you need to maintain the SQL servers, you need to take care of all the maintenance, backups, restores, high availability, okay, security hardening. Everything will be in your control. Everything will be in your control. For a DBA, for a database administrator, there is no difference in roles and responsibilities when it comes to traditional data centers and IaaS. In legacy IT infra also, you are requesting VM. You are if you want to set up a SQL server, you will raise a request with the VM team to deploy a new VM. Once VM is ready, along with the operating system and the storage, then you are going to install your SQL server, and then on top of that you can do rest of the activities. Even IaaS also, either you can raise a request to VM team, whoever is managing VMs in Azure, or you yourself can deploy your VM. That's a 2 minutes, 3 minutes job to deploy a VM. Okay. On top of that, you can install a SQL server, do the security hardening, and same process. Okay, backups will be in your control. If you want to set up always on, yes, the same way that you are setting up always on in your on-premise, the same way you can you need to set up always on in IaaS also. Similarly, clusters, log shipping, database mirroring, backup and restore, everything is as similar to your on-premise. But when it comes to the PaaS, where you don't need to deploy any VM, you don't need to install SQL Server, you don't need to do any security hardening. Directly, you can create a database. If an X customer, sorry, for an X application, they need a two databases. You don't need to install any SQL Server. Just get into the, just get into your cloud. Just get into your cloud portal or PowerShell or CLI. You can just create a database directly. Once the database is created, it will give you a connection string to access that database. You just share that connection string with your application guys. They'll connect this database from their applications using that connection string. Using that connection string. Okay. So in IaaS, you need to do everything. In PaaS, you don't need to install a SQL server. Your scope is only to create the databases. You will not have many options. You don't have option to take a backup. Automatic backups will be taken by cloud, and also you don't have options to create replications, log shipping. But a replication, something called geo replication. So you can create a database in one region and you can enable replications to other regions. Okay, and point in time recovery, all these things are managed by a cloud. So um, the one performance tuning is something that you need to focus even in a pass, like a DTOs. There is a parameter that we need to assign when you are creating a database, that is called DTO, database transaction unit, that we will discuss in the past later classes. But um, many of the maintenance activities are managed by automated by cloud. So you have to create and you have to take care of basic uh, basic database activities in PaaS. Okay, IaaS is recommended for in case if you have anything in on-premise, and if you want to migrate those databases to public cloud, you can recommend IaaS. Okay, because when it comes to on-premise SQL Server to pass a SQL database, there are so many limitations in the pass database. So if you set up a SQL Server on-premise, you have a SQL Server agent to set up jobs, and you have a linked servers to access databases from another instance. You have a database mail, you have alerts, and you have database snapshots. So none of these features are available in for SQL database in the past. So if you have a SQL instance with so many application jobs, SQL Server agent jobs, you need to search for another option or another service in Azure Pass, alternative option to schedule all these jobs. Okay, many of the applications or many of the existing applications which are connecting to on-premise SQL Server are not compatible with the past SQL database. Past SQL database. That is where what you can recommend. So whenever you are migrating databases from on-premise to Azure public cloud, you recommend for migrations, you recommend infra as a service. For new implementations, for new designs, new applications are coming where you can go for past databases, right? Because this is a new design, new solution where we can factor, okay, if there is a if there are any jobs, we can go for some Azure service. There is automation service, okay, there is a scheduler service, okay. We can leverage any of this existing scheduler is one service available in past. So we need to explore things, and we need to do a POC, and then once everything is working in POC, then we can implement for main applications. If it is a new implementation project, but if it is a migration from our existing on-premise to public cloud, you always recommend highlight the risk. Like, boss, these are all the features not available in past. These are the features not available in the past. Okay, so so that it's their decision. Uh, as a database admin, as a database SME, or as a database architect, it is your responsibility to highlight a risk. After you highlight the risk, if customers still want to go with the past solution, even for migration, okay, that's fine, right? But it is your responsibility to highlight the things. And next, okay, this is coming. Okay, finally, SaaS. There is nothing for a database guy in the SaaS. In the SaaS, even you don't need to configure application. In PaaS, you are configuring application, but in SaaS, ready-made applications are available as a service. For example, Outlook, okay, and Skype for Business, and Google Drive, okay, Gmail. All these are services. The best example is a couple of years back, maybe a year back, I still remember if I want to listen to music in my phone, I used to download songs from raga.com or any other sites. I used to download, and I used to maintain bunch of audio files in my phone or my laptop to listen the latest music. But what we are doing nowadays? Are we downloading audio files? Are we downloading and listening any audio nowadays?
No.
So how are we listening music? What is the what is the what is the famous application that we are using nowadays? Our app that we are using? Somebody responded. Ghana. Ghana is a SaaS service. Ghana is a SaaS service, SaaS-based application running on AWS. Ghana is a SaaS-based AWS, SaaS-based application running on AWS. Okay, Ghana is running on AWS cloud. So they have all the audio files maintaining in their storage, and streaming is enabled. Live streaming is enabled. You can just access Ghana app and search for the album. You can play directly if you have the internet connectivity over internet, right? That is a SaaS service. That is a SaaS service. Okay. So you don't need to set up Outlook also. Ready-made application will be available. You can just use that Outlook service, Gmail, okay, OneDrive, Google Drive. All these are services available. Ready-made services available. Sky for Business. Okay. And nowadays you are not installing Sky for Business, right? Skype. Uh, I know some of you had attended Skype interviews, right, in the past. So have you? Uh, we used to download Skype client, and then we used to uh, log in, and then we used to attend the interviews. But now it's a web-based tool, ready-made. So if you say Skype for Business in the internet, you will get, right. Let me show you. See, ready-made. Okay, they're asking you to get Office 365. So from where you will get uh, so many applications, ready-made applications, the SaaS applications. See here. Okay, you don't need to download anything. You don't need to download anything. You can get it as a service. You can get this as a service. Okay. Okay, we have a list of services. I think we can take it up tomorrow, and tomorrow we'll start with our Azure subscription also, and yeah, we'll go through different services, important services from Azure, and also what are the critical services that we need to focus as a DBA, and then
Hi, Amit.
yeah, with that,
Yeah, Rafi here.
yeah,
Which one is good, from on-premises to, like, we need to migrate from infra as a service or platform as a service?
yeah. See, both options are available. You can migrate to infra as a service, and you can migrate to PaaS. But what I was telling you, when it comes to the SQL Server database migration, it is always advisable to migrate an infra as a service. The reason is when you have a SQL infra in the on-premise, you will have so many features like you have a SQL Server agent for jobs, you have a database mail, alerts, operators, linker servers, okay, and also database snapshots. Uh, so many options are available in your on-premise, but it is as is not compatible in PaaS. In PaaS, you don't have a system databases also. If you create a database in PaaS, there will be one system database that is master. Okay,
Okay.
considering that your applications may not be compatible 100% accurate with the PaaS database, because as you are losing all these capabilities, right? Yes, there
Yes.
are certain other services available in PaaS. Say, for example, you are migrating your database to PaaS, and where you don't have an agent, but on-premise you are maintaining bunch of jobs. For the jobs, you need to identify alternative service available in PaaS, and you need to do more R&D. How can I schedule my stored procedures in that service available in PaaS? Okay, that is why what I was telling, wherever there is a migration, you recommend infra as a service, and wherever there is a new implementation, where you recommend PaaS.
So, yeah, okay. Is there any cost difference, differences between IaaS
And
and
yeah, PaaS cost is high compared to IaaS. PaaS
yes.
cost is on database level. Okay, IaaS cost is on VM level. In one VM, you can put n number of SQL servers, and top of that, you can put n number of databases. There won't be any cost variation. But when it comes to the PaaS, where you need to the cost will be based on the database. Even for that database, there will be different pricing tiers. Based on the pricing tier that you have selected, appropriate cost will be applicable for your database. Yeah, we will discuss all these things. In past also, we have a different database models. Okay, we will discuss all those things.
Hi Ramesh, I have one doubt.
Yeah. Can you just give the name and ask that out so that I'll get familiar
Okay,
with all of you?
okay. This is Naveen. I have
Yeah.
one doubt.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one database on past services.
Okay.
Okay. As of now, we are going to shut down the database.
Okay.
Meanwhile, for example, in our normal environment, that is legacy IT, we are offline database sometime, and we will go that
Correct.
after
Correct.
that 1 month or some period, we will need to go to decommission database.
Correct.
Or here that past service, we don't have that option to do offline database. Okay, so
Okay.
at that time, we can shut down. Is there an option like that shut down particular period? After that, we need to go on up for that server. Is there an option like that?
In past, you don't have a server at all. Okay.
Hmm.
In past, you
Mhm.
don't have in IaaS, you can do whatever the way that you have followed in legacy IT, same thing can be followed in IaaS because it's a VM. On top of that, you have a SQL server. On top of that, we have databases. You can offline and whenever you want, you can bring online. But in a uh, PaaS, you have offline option. I think I need to verify that offline option. Um,
No, there is no offline option in pass.
then I think there is no shutdown option also. So as long as you, so what is your requirement? So you want to
Just because we have the database is going to decommission pass services, we are going to in-house server.
okay.
So we already demigrate that to in-house server. Particular time, for example, if 15
No,
days or 1 month, we need
you
to
are mig
in that one.
you want to migrate your database from PaaS to in-house?
Right, because that is high cost. Client is thinking like that.
Yeah,
It is
obviously it is a
paid.
heavy cost.
Uh, so we already downgrade that one.
Mm,
But temporary we need to offline. So I am going to the databases to rename database. For
mm,
example,
mm,
xyz underscore world.
mm,
I suggested like that.
mm.
I'm thinking that is there any option offline or not? That is the reason I'm asking.
No, there is no offline. What you can do, you can export the database to your cloud storage. Okay, and you can delete that from a pass. And then whenever you want the database back, you can import it from the storage.
Okay. Okay.
There is no offline option. Yeah, and it, only option will be available in for a past database, export, a copy, and a delete. These three options will be there. Even
Ah,
you don't
yes.
have a backup option. You will have
No,
a restore.
backup. We took that backup like a backpack file.
Huh. Yeah, that back if yeah,
Yeah,
if you
we
have
did
a
that
back
one.
yeah, if you have a backpack, you can recreate, you can redeploy that backpack file. So you
Yes.
don't have a traditional way of taking a backup like .back.
Yes, yes, right.
You can export it as a data tier applications where you can export as a .backpack and then you can redeploy whenever you want. Other option available is you can export this database into your Azure storage. So when you are
Yeah, yes.
generating
There is
when you
storage permissions not available from us. So
yeah,
that's the
okay.
reason
Yeah,
we
you need to have a
going for
storage account. You need to have a storage account. You should have access to blob storage. Then you can just
yes.
give the path and you can export it to the storage. Okay. And you will not be able to export it to your local machine again. If you want to take it to your server, the backpack is the only option. And
Yes,
delete
yes.
it. And whenever you want, you redeploy that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody have any other questions? Okay. Post your names and numbers in the chat. So that we'll have a track and it'll send the recordings. So few people join from the phones, even it is not displaying their names. Okay, guys. Thank you then. We'll talk to you tomorrow.